Good evening. I'm going to try to hold the camera somewhat steady so you don't get seasick while I do this. But Ron from Garage Aquatics 2023 wanted to see my Kribensis, and I love Kribensis, and I know he loves Kribensis because he has Bob and Carol. Bob and Carol are his albino Kribensis. They're gorgeous. But I also love Kribensis. I love West African cichlids generally. That's why I have the Turkana jewels and I have the regular, well, actually they're short-bodied jewel cichlids. And I just got the Pelvica chromis Drachenfelsii that are just terrified and hiding out under moss in a different aquarium. But I do love Kribensis. They're great little fish. So I've got a male and female, just regular fish store Kribensis. I got some super reds. The guy right in front is a super red. You can't really tell right now. No, he's not. That's the regular store-bought one. There you go, in the back. That's a super red. You see how much red he's got on him? And then some of the little, I've got two tiny little females that are super blue or blue variants. I don't have any males of those. I don't have any females of the super red. That's fine. I'm not here to breed anything. I mean, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, well, that's great too. I've got all these little hair algae. What do they call those? Blackbeard algae popping up on my gravel. So I added a couple small Siamese algae eaters. To date, they haven't really made a dent. I'll give them some time though. The albino and the regular Congo tetras are brand new. Just got those yesterday. They've settled in fairly well. One lesson that is hard to learn in this hobby is you got to be patient. And the patience is with your aquarium. The longer your aquarium has been set up, the happier everything is in it. Literally everything, including algae. But, in theory, with enough time, algae will subside. Things will settle out, calm down. This Blackbeard algae isn't settling out and calming down, but hopefully the algae eaters will get on it. I do have an under gravel filter in this aquarium. I am an old school guy. I've been keeping fish since the 80s. And I do love my under gravel filters. I don't have them in all my aquariums, but I have them in a lot of aquariums. Basically, if I don't have a sand substrate, I probably have an under gravel filter in there. A lot of people think, oh, why would you do that? Well, it's because you're going to have gravel. You might as well turn all that gravel into a giant filter. And I don't mind the uplift tubes. I don't think they're bad at all. In fact, sometimes I find myself staring at the uplift tubes just as much as I stare at the fish. Also, since this is my fish room, I don't really mind the noise as much. In the house, I don't really like to have a lot of air bubbles going. I've got a, it's a 120p. It's about a 70-gallon, 75-gallon, somewhere in there. I don't do those European stuff. I do Freedom units. But it does have uplift tubes. It has an undergravel filter in it, but I've got power heads on that. And I always have a slight oil film on the surface of it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. It's just a thing. And I notice that if I have an air stone in the aquarium, I don't have that. It doesn't take a lot of surface agitation with an air stone to not have that. It doesn't take much at all. One tiny little air bubbler can really knock out a lot of that surface scum. So, and also I have one giant linear piston air pump running all the aquariums in here. So it's not like, I mean, I might as well use it. The other alternative is to use sponges, really. I mean, you can use box filters and things like that, but sponges are probably the way I would go. I mean, I have sponges in some aquariums. I have sponges in a lot of my aquariums, I should say. But there seems to be a lot of advantage in having air stones. The fish seem to like it. And might as well have that undergravel plate flowing. I do notice, though, that in this particular aquarium, my plants haven't really taken off very well. I don't know if that's the substrate itself or if it's the undergravel filter or a combination thereof. In my fish tank in the house, I have an undergravel filter plate and I've got plants growing. I've got a 55-gallon tank in the fish room that has an undergravel filter plate and a lot of plants growing. But they have the Kribensis Eco Complete stuff, the black crushed basalt, I think it is. That might be the difference, because this is also Kribensis, but this is their a mixture of their Jungle River, their Peace River, and one other that I don't really remember. So this is a mix of 3 inert gravels. And that might be it, because the Eco Complete, I guess it bonds with or attracts or it absorbs and holds for the plants to draw out. It holds all the nutrients, whereas obviously inert stones probably don't hold much of anything. But I don't know. I don't know. Anyway, these are my Kribensis. I've got some small Synodontis in there as well. 2 different species, and I always forget their names. They both start with P. I've got the Berlin swords. I've got the Congo tetras. I've got 2 small bristlenose plecos in there, and the Siamese algae eaters, and the various volunteer snails. Anyway, thanks for watching. Have a wonderful weekend.